Hello, friends and freundins, and welcome to the 16th episode of the Troglodyte channel. In this one, I will paint, weather and complete the diorama I built 2 weeks ago, which is inspired by the Greco-Italian War of 1940. A small but nice terrain base for the cute Italian panzer and the Greek soldiers surrounding it. The first thing I did was to prime the tank, the figures and the terrain with a nice black spray primer from AK. First I painted the tank with my airbrush. I chose a shade of green which felt appropriate, or at least good looking, and after I covered the tracks with some masking tape so that I wouldn't have to paint any hard to reach surfaces later, I took out my not so trusty airbrush and I got to work. The green color turned out looking pretty good. I would like to add some highlights here and there, but I do not think that my airbrush will be up to the task. So I will try to do it later with oil paints. I then started painting a simple camouflage pattern using a thin brush and a light brown color. I went over it 2 or 3 times until I was satisfied with the way it looks. Afterwards, I started painting the individual parts of the tank, such as the machine guns, the tracks, the road wheels, and the exhaust. This time I wanted the exhaust to look a little bit darker than usual, so before I started blending the light colors, I applied some black panel liner in certain spots. Once I was happy with the exhaust, I proceeded with the painting of the tracks and the road wheels, which were already all together glued in place, so I had to be a little bit more careful and precise. Any spots I didn't like, I could quickly remove the paint with a clean brush and a little bit of water. I painted the tarp and the canister on the back, as well as the tools and the cute little headlights facing forwards. Then I added a few layers of rust on the tracks, gradually going from darker to lighter color. Finally, it was time to add the decals, which I always find a little bit challenging, because I never know what's gonna happen in the end, no matter what I try. But to my surprise, this time they turned out pretty good. I started applying some color variation to break away from this flat green. The oil paint that I'm using now makes it look a little bit silly, but trust me, it will start to improve slowly. The next step was to do some chipping, with the trusty usual method. But because I do not know in what color the Italians used to prime their tanks back then, I went straight to the silver, specifically gunmetal. After I did a light coating of mud and watermarks in between the tracks, I applied a lot of black panel liner to the whole model. Then I drew some highlights on this tarp, because the plain green was really boring, and after that I wiped off all of the panel liner excess. Afterwards, I used the light grey oil paint to create a little bit of dust and some water streaks on the horizontal and vertical surfaces of the tank. I added a string to hold my canister in place, and then I applied another layer of mud and watermarks on the lower hull. Slowly, the looks of my cute little tank were improving. Some dirty spots around the exhaust, a little bit more mud and dirt on the tracks, and my tank was complete. But you will not see it complete right now. Right now you will see me painting the Greek infantrymen. And it is really amazing that, considering I had no idea what I was doing at all, I am not absolutely disappointed with the final result. They actually look okay. Eventually, it was time to give life to this desolate piece of terrain. Life as a figure of speech, because this is a battleground. But anyways, I airbrushed pretty much everything with a nice light brown, and then I would paint the individual parts of the terrain. First, I painted the rocks in a nice light grey. Then all of the broken branches and trees in a darker shade of grey. After all of the elements were painted in a basic color, I made a couple of brown washes, which I applied all over the surface. Then I tried to give some more detail to each one of the branches and the broken tree barks, and of course on the rocks. To do this, first I used a sponge. Then, for some reason, I took a break to paint the frame of the diorama in a nice glossy black. And then I continued by painting some of the individual stones with a thin brush. The final step was to do a careful and light dry brushing in the areas where the dry grass lays on the ground. And that was it. Of course, I added some final touches after I had positioned the figures on the tank. Some pigments between the tracks and the ground. Of course, the barbed wire, and after that I covered the whole thing with a nice coat of matte varnish to seal everything tight and neat together. I really like this small diorama. I believe that the image it captures is pretty powerful, and I'm especially happy with the way the terrain turned out. I believe the color choices were right on the spot, and looking at it makes me happy, so this is enough. Thank you for watching my video, friends and freundins. If you liked it, you can press the like button. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And also tell me what you think of this diorama in the comments below. Once again, thank you friends and freundins, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. And perhaps even found it useful in a way. I will see you in the next one. Be good!